And welcome to the final quarter on the CBS 8 app. I am Jake Garriani. That is Karthik Venkatraman.
Jake, tell them what you were doing a second ago.
We were having a little fun before the show started. I can't quote it because it's from The Dark Knight. We might get sued, but we're just quoting some movies, and it was a funny scene. Kind of, not really, actually.
Very depressing.
Very depressing scene. Point being, let's talk some sports here. We're really losing the plot here. Way more important things happening in the sports world than quoting Batman in The Dark Knight.
Debatable.
Right, y'all. The Padres have new ownership, Karthik, and what a day this was. I was down there at Petco Park the day that Kwanzaa Jones and Jose E. Feliciano were introduced as the new majority owners of the San Diego Padres. The two of them spent, to my understanding, around $2 billion to acquire 45% of the San Diego Padres at a $3.9 billion valuation. Huge numbers, obviously, but the point is Jose and Kwanzaa have taken over as owners of the San Diego Padres. We'll kind of get into what I think about it because we're going to hear from me on Monday when I was down there, but I want to get your opinion. I know you watched the whole press conference. You and I were texting back and forth the entire time. What did you think of Jose and Kwanzaa?
Yeah, for sure. I think that Kwanzaa Jones is absolutely electric is what I think. First off, it's just going viral. The amount of text messages I've received about Kwanzaa Jones and just being like, oh, man, she's so cool. She seems so funny. She's so electric. Yeah, we're going to win it all. That part, the electricity and energizing a fan base, I felt like she really brought that part. And then I think Jose E. Feliciano brought the part where it's like more business-minded. I don't want to use level-headed because I'm sure Kwanzaa is also a very level-headed woman, but it feels like he's more in that business mindset of like, okay, this is what we got to get done. I would like to win. I can't promise wins, but this is what I'd like to do. And like he's more of like it seems like almost calculated in his mind. So I feel like they're a really good balance. They both are extremely entertaining together. Just watching some of the clips of, even them on the field and just like hugging. And it just seems like they're very fun-loving, care about the community type people that want to bring championships to the city. And I think with their flavor of their personality in different ways, they're going to try to do their best to do that. And, I think winning press conferences is something a lot of people say.
Hard to lose a press conference, to be honest.
It's hard to lose a press conference. People have lost press conferences.
Sure.
There's people that just go to press conferences and you're like, okay. Then there's just winning the press conferences. I really feel like especially Kwanzaa Jones won this press conference.
Yeah, there's a lot of thoughts, I think, that I have around Kwanzaa and Jose, but I want to kind of flash back to Monday when I was down there. Let's hear from them, and then we'll continue this conversation. But here I was down at Petco Park talking about my initial reaction to the press conference as well as hearing from the two of them.
Well, the next era for the San Diego Padres has begun. Today, new majority owners Jose E. Feliciano and Kwanzaa Jones were introduced to the media and the fans here at Petco Park. And during that press conference, one thing became very apparent: the contrast between the married couple. Kwanzaa Jones full of energy, full of vibes. Jose E. Feliciano a little bit more quiet, reserved, calculated with his answers. And one other thing was very apparent. Kwanzaa Jones had a simple message about what she wants from this franchise.
We're going to win. We're going to win. We're going to win and win it all. We hope it's sooner rather than later.
Maybe people underestimate us. People don't think that we're capable of doing what we have done, including winning the bid for the Padres. That motivates us.
Hey, Jay, just want to ask you about today being a huge day. Jose and Kwanzaa introduced as the new owners of the Padres. What was your impression of them?
Yeah, I think you see the commitment and the excitement level and just the genuineness that bring to the position. This is their thing, something that they've obviously invested a lot of money into. I think it was really exciting, and I think it was fun for the fans of San Diego to see their commitment level and a great first impression.
And of course, with new owners comes new questions. How will Kwanzaa Jones and Jose E. Feliciano spend? What will their finances look like when building this roster? And it's something that I directly asked them about today.
Jose and Kwanzaa, Jake Garriani from CBS 8 here in San Diego. Nice to meet you both and welcome. In your guys' original statement when you first were announced as the owners, you guys said that you wanted to invest aggressively but intelligently. I'm curious if you could elaborate on what your guys' financial plan is for the roster when you look at trying to compete with other teams in baseball.
Jake, you said aggressively but intelligently. I wish we had said that. That's beautiful.
Paraphrasing, of course.
All right, there it is. We said ambitiously and judiciously, but we will take aggressively and intelligently, because I do think it is synonymous with how we are thinking of continuing to grow and build and be competitive.
We have been blessed with a team in a city that is supporting us in a way that is allowing us to invest back in that team, in the stadium, and that city. And we're committed to doing that. We are going to live, within our means, and that could mean different things in different years.
Kwanza Jones and Jose E. Feliciano purchased about 45% of the San Diego Padres. They talked a lot today about unity, community, and family. We will see how this new era begins for the San Diego Padres, and I will leave you with this message from Kwanza Jones.
Yo soy la madre de los Padres. How do you like that?
How do you like that? Yo soy la madre de los Padres. I am the mother of the Padres. Look, I think there was a lot to take away. That was a powerful press conference. There was a lot to it. There was a lot of energy, a lot of excitement, a big day, a historic day for the San Diego Padres. A couple things popped out to me. Obviously posting a lot on social media, hearing a lot from fans. You said you got tons of text. I think sometimes people mistake Kwanza Jones's energy for just being energy. I mean, both of them are incredibly, incredibly smart people. That was a big takeaway I had, was just like, you can feel the intelligence in the room from both of them. They also feel very genuine. I saw a lot of people commenting like, oh my gosh, it feels fake, it feels fabricated. To me, being in that room, it didn't feel fabricated or fake in any way. That just to me was like, that's Kwanza. Clearly that's who she is, and clearly this is who Jose is. They felt genuine, they felt down to earth. And then we need to talk about the nuts and bolts of baseball. And, in that package you saw, we asked about spending. You could take that soundbite a lot of different ways, Karthik, about how we think Jose and Kwanza will spend money when it comes to the team. But I don't know. I thought they felt real. They're very smart. And I'm excited for them to be the owners of the Padres. But obviously, Karthik, it will take a long, long time before we truly get to see their impact as the owners of the team, the majority owners.
For sure. I don't think it was fake. I think you can tell when somebody is being authentic, and just especially the way Kwanza at the end, where she asked all the reporters in the room to take a picture. It's just I feel like those are things that are just authentic self. You don't think of that as just a fake thing that you're going to do. I don't buy into any of that. And yeah, we'll see where this whole thing goes, because, it's one thing to win a press conference. It's one thing to win over a fan base year over year with the moves that you allowed the organization to make to put them in a situation to try and go win that World Series that the city so desperately wants and, feels like they need. And we'll see. There's questions as to how they answered it, aggressive in some parts, and kind of felt like it was tactical in some ways. Not. And, I feel like in recent years, that's kind of how the Padres have also been. So we'll see. We'll see how we're just going to have to let this thing unfold. It's not something that we can really predict or judge now. I think it's one of those things we're going to look, 5 years down the road, and we'll have a better glimpse at okay, what train track is this thing heading down?
And there's no hiding as owners, right? We will have the answers to it. They can say all the words they want. They can have all the press conferences they want, but their actions will tell the story of what they decide to do with the San Diego Padres. Right now, everything they have said, their actions in the very short time that they've been able to have them with the San Diego Padres have all been positive. We'll see if that continues, if they back their words with everything they are saying. And if they do so, they're going to be great owners of the San Diego Padres. Yeah. Of course, we will wait and see if they're able to do so. Hang out with us here on the final quarter. When we come back from this break, we will talk Padres baseball. How is the team that Kwanza and Jose they took over? How are they playing? And we'll break down some of that. Come on. And welcome back to the final quarter on the CBS 8 app. Karthik Venkatraman, Jake Garriani here. We spent the entire first part of the show talking about the new owners of the San Diego Padres, Kwanza Jones and Jose E. Feliciano. Let's talk about the baseball team. The San Diego Padres obviously swept the Twins. Everyone was feeling great. And then two very frustrating games against the Pittsburgh Pirates. They salvaged the series, the cliche salvaged the series, with a win in Game 3. As we record today, they are off and get set to face a very good baseball club out there in Florida in the Tampa Bay Rays. Karthik, still in playoff position. Just your thoughts on where the Padres are now as we enter. What do we have, 28 games or so left? I don't know, somewhere around there at the top of my head, right?
Yeah, I think we're 30 games to go.
30.
And where my thoughts are on the Padres right now, it's complicated for me because here's the thing. They swept the Twins, and like you said, they took 1 out of 3 against the Pirates. 4 out of 6, if they can do that consistently down the stretch of the season, they're going to make the playoffs. If you can win 4, like 2, that's winning 2 out of every 3 games. So we'll see. That was at home. In an ideal world, you would have liked to have won 5 out of 6. In your home stand. Especially after pretty much going 500 in your road series before that. I think when I look at the San Diego Padres right now, it kind of feels like they're just kind of like they went on that huge run where it felt like, okay, the momentum was really coming. The bats are going, the pitching's great, and the pitching has continued to be fantastic. I mean, Randy Vasquez threw, another great game on the mound yesterday. I know pitching as a whole got some bases loaded jams and, some runners on pretty consistently down the stretch there, but they took care of business to win that game. The bats are what's kind of concerning me right now for the San Diego Padres because it felt like we were on an uptick and they had kind of figured things out. But then recently it was like, okay, a game they had it offensively, then they didn't have it offensively. A game they had it offensively, they didn't have it offensively. And, they had some big innings against the Twins in which they were able to score 4 runs, and I think in each of those games in an inning. But then in that Pirate series, through 21 innings and, the first 2 games of the series, they only put 2 runs up. And then in the series finale there, they only put up 3 runs. And then there were multiple games prior to that where they had 1 run, 2 runs. And so I'm a little worried about the inconsistency of the Padres bats. I hope that continues to pick up and they can get back to where they want to go. And then, I continue to be a little concerned about, injuries with this team as we get there. I mean, the razor thin margins of them being in that final National League wildcard spot and not right now is very thin. I think the San Diego Padres, with the injuries and the inconsistent bats right now, especially with Jeremiah Estrada just going back to the injured list for, I believe, the 3rd time this season, a little reason to be concerned, I think.
Sure. I mean, and I love Jeremiah, but it's not like he was throwing lights out and all of a sudden they're losing, one of the top guys. He can be, of course, when he's healthy, one of the top guys in that bullpen. But, for him to go and, if they can get some of those guys back, of course, they're in a really good position. The inconsistencies with the offense it's always a tricky thing for me in baseball because I think, Karthik, if you or any fan out there watched a team for 162 games, most likely there's a lot of inconsistencies. It's hard to have a consistent offense in Major League Baseball. That's just the truth of the matter. So because we consume the Padres on a nightly basis, we go, why is it one night they can score 8 and the other night they can't score at all? And then why is it one night they score 5 and the other night they score 1? It sounds cliche, but I chalk a lot of that up to being baseball. To me, the jump that the offense made from how bad they were in the first half to where they have been since the All-Star break gives me solace that this offense will be in a decent spot going down the stretch. To me, the big thing is, if they make the postseason, that offense just cannot disappear like it has in years past. But, of course, you got to get to that postseason. To your point, the pitching, I think, has just been phenomenal. And I know maybe statistically it's not always that way looking like it, but the pitching has been just really good throughout the course of this season. One guy that actually got hurt and was kind of scary looking was Casey Mize, who slipped down the steps of the dugout, walking into the dugout. He's supposed to make his next start, I believe, this Friday. And I was down at the game in that series finale against the Pittsburgh Pirates. We actually caught up with Casey to ask him about walking down the steps of a dugout and overall how he's feeling. But I love this first part where he's talking about walking down the steps of the dugout and how he'll feel doing it in the future.
A lot more, early on, and then hopefully it's just like normal again, but no, I know how to walk down steps, it's just maybe be a little bit more careful in game, yeah. Yeah, the progress has been really good, day over day, just kind of been pleased with that. We've been pushing it more and more with a bullpen session today that went well, so pleased with the progress.
I'm glad he knows how to walk down steps. That's a great start. I know, obviously he's kind of being sarcastic there. Everything that he said to us yesterday, or the series finale against the Pirates, was positive, and I do expect him to make that next start. It doesn't seem like it's a big thing. But to your point, Karthik, it's not like the pitching has been the big issue for this team. In fact, the game he got hurt, he got knocked all over the yard, gave up those 3 home runs. Padres came back offensively and won that game. That was a game that was on CBS 8. So, look, to me, in my heart of hearts, the way I watch this team right now, this feels like a playoff team to me, and it didn't feel that way all year long. I have a good feeling that the San Diego Padres will be in the postseason this year.
It's going to be tight. I think a big part of this, with 30 games to go, their next 9 games aren't going to be easy.
No.
I mean, they got the Rays on the road, who are the best team in the American League, and I know the American League has not been good. The AL East is a good division. That is the one thing about the American League that you can count on. Reds on the road, I don't think is going to be particularly easy. People may look at that and they'll say, okay, what's the Reds? They're like 9 games out of a wild card spot. But, hey, the Pirates were kind of in the same boat. Padres struggled against them, and the Reds have some good pitching that they have. And then they got the Yankees at home, and, yeah, the Yankees aren't playing with Aaron Judge right now, but the Yankees, I believe, over their last 10 games are like 7-3. So, they're still playing good baseball. They got Cody Bellinger back. So, this next 9-game stretch, and when we're talking about a 9-game stretch out of 30 games to go, that's a huge chunk. That's like a third left of your regular season. So this next stretch against some quality teams, especially in the Rays and the Yankees, Padres really need to take care of business and go back to what I was saying earlier. Need to keep going on that path of trying to win 2 out of 3. Take the series because it's thin, man. It's so thin. The Diamondbacks are right there. They got some games on their schedule that are going to be beneficial for them, even though sometimes they flub when they play those teams that are lesser than them, and it feels like they rise up when they play those teams that are, quote unquote, better than them. So we'll see. I think it's going to be tight all the way to the season. And like I said on our Padres pregame show not too long ago, with On Deck with the Padres, I really think it could very well come down to Padres Diamondbacks at the end of the regular season.
And look, the Padres, they've played good teams pretty well this year. I mean, I think back to them sweeping the Milwaukee Brewers. Like, if you want to do anything this year, you're going to have to beat good teams. So the level of competition is what it is. Like, yeah, you got to go into Tampa and you need to win 2 out of 3. I think that's a good goal to have, of course, for this team. They've done that against good teams, and then you lose 2 of 3 to the Pittsburgh Pirates or something like that. So we'll see what happens. They're going to face some really good pitching down there in Tampa, and that stretch you talk about, that 9 games, obviously with the 30 left, you can't emphasize it enough. They're all obviously huge. They've all been huge, though. They all matter.
Yeah,
I mean,
for sure.
You're going to get
Every
down
game
this
counts
stretch.
to say. That's what the coaches say.
You talk about one, and you talk to this team, in May, and it's no big deal. We lost a game to Seattle, right? Although I think but point being is, you lose a game in May, nobody thinks it's a big deal, and then now we get down to the final 30 games, and it's a 1-game margin, it's a half a game margin. You're every game always matters. That's why I don't know if you can ever be too colloquial about it, or also too over the top with each win and each loss. But It's going to be a fun stretch. We're going to take one more quick break. A familiar face coming back to San Diego, Chucky Lozano, returning this weekend as LA Galaxy gets set to face SDFC. We'll hear from the team and talk about it. Hey, welcome back to the final quarter. One last block we have to go, and it's an important block as Hirving Chucky Lozano comes back to San Diego. What a saga it was, what a saga it has been, and it enters its next chapter. Of course, all the drama by this point, the big blow-ups, the fights, the he's not playing, the he's sitting on the bench rotting, taking up all this money, the he is loaned to LA Galaxy. Now, Chucky Lozano officially with LA Galaxy and officially coming back here to San Diego to face his former team. We'll get into the sound from the team today, but let's hear some real thoughts, because we didn't get a whole lot of real thoughts, I don't think, today out there in the Dehesa Valley. Karthik, what do you think about Chucky coming back?
Yeah, I'm interested to see what the crowd reaction will be to Chucky Lozano coming back. I actually think it's going to be pretty positive.
Yeah.
I mean, he was a fan favorite. Even when he wasn't playing for this team and when they announced that they were moving on past him, the amount of comments that we got on our stuff, play Chucky, play Chucky, play Chucky, It just feels like this fan base loves him so much. And I find it so interesting, too, because, when a player leaves in free agency or something like that, fans get so angry. You chose somebody else over us. But then when the team says, okay, well, this player has pretty much been an absolute monster in the locker room to us being a cohesive team and moving forward, they're just like, we love him, we forgive him, put him on the field because he's just that good. And it's even double interesting because if you go back to the only season that he played with San Diego FC, fan favorite for one season, he plays, he gets the hamstring injury, he misses a lot of games, he comes in, then he plays, then towards the end of the season, he has the issue. He didn't even play that many matches, and it's so interesting to me that San Diego FC fans still love him so much, obviously because of what he means, more in the international scope of soccer. But Yeah, it's going to be very interesting. I do think that he's going to get a pretty positive reaction overall, though.
I think one of the big things why this fan base fell in love with Hirving Chucky Lozano is because he was the first, right? He was the first player that really was going to be on that MLS roster that was announced by San Diego FC, and he was the DP. He was the star. He was the first face of the franchise. And, of course, he went out there. He did his things. He scored some goals for this team, and fans fell in love with him. You talk, of course, about the international scale and the scope that he has with fans across the border and here in San Diego. And then you talk about the fact that they were able to build this franchise around the one guy to begin this thing. It was Hirving Chucky Lozano. Everyone was
going
going
to be the hero.
He was the hero at times, right? Everyone was going to follow him. He was going to be the star of this franchise. And then you talk about the start in the season that this team had in its inaugural year. Of course, fans fell in love with him. It made a ton of sense. So then when it went through this saga and there was that reported blow up in the locker room and he was sent to the bench and pretty much cast away, I see why fans were angry about it. They go, hey, that's our hero. That's the guy that we built this franchise around. Why is he now sitting there on the bench? Why is he not playing? And I was curious today going out to SDFC's training emotionally how they would feel talking about it, talking about him coming back. And here is what the team had to say about Chucky returning here to San Diego.
Had a lot of good memories with him last season, and so nothing bad to say at all. So I think I tried a lot of times out here practices against him. When he was left winger, I was the right winger. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting, and I'm looking forward to it.
What do you think his reception will be with the fans and the team and everything?
I think that's fans-wise, that's up to them. I think we, as a group, have nothing bad to say about him or anything. There is no bad vibe or anything. So that's it's gonna be cool to see him again.
I hope it's positive. We're all happy that he's playing football again. Ultimately, we've said from the beginning, and we've stayed consistent with it. We still want the best for him. It was just a matter of not being the right fit, and we decided to move forward without him. Ultimately, he found a club, and that we're happy for him. So I would hope everybody be happy for him. But ultimately, we play against LA Galaxy, so we all go to win the game the same way that they're going to come here to try to win.
And look, I think Mikey's right. There's a lot more to this game than one person coming back to San Diego. But yeah, of course, this is what everyone's talking about. I mean, maybe not within the team, but everyone outside of the team is talking about Chucky's return here to San Diego. I think Mikey probably puts it very professionally when he says it wasn't a right fit. There's a lot more to unpack in those three letters with fit, I think.
Yeah. Chucky, 1 start, 2 subs with the LA Galaxy since joining them. He's going to play, and it's going to be something. And he's going to have a chip on his shoulder.
Yeah.
This team, all that stuff happened. Then they played him in the playoffs. Then they said, we're moving on from you. That's got to, and then they had him, and then he just had to show up to practice, but like practice by himself. So he's just like the guy in the corner. Like, if that doesn't make you mad, he's going to be mad. And San Diego FC's back line's not always particularly been good this season. I might put a bold prediction out here. I'm not going to be surprised if Chucky Lozano comes out here and scores a goal in Snapdragon Stadium on Saturday.
I don't think I will be either. You cannot tell me that this one won't mean more to Chucky Lozano.
He's going to be big mad.
Just given the player we got to know a little bit in his time down here at SDFC, he's an emotionally charged guy.